All right, guys, quick midday rundown so you're not flying blind into the back half of the session. Now, SPY and Qs have been leaking lower all morning, oil still squeezing, and the Israel US versus Iran situation is basically driving the whole tape right now. I'll walk you through what's happening with the indices and oil first, and then we'll talk about some stocks that I'm watching at the moment. Now, starting with the overall market here, you can see that SPY has been in a steady intraday downtrend, lower highs, lower lows, nothing crazy, just a slow bleed. And the Qs, let's pull that up real quick. Qs is telling the same story. Tech is heavy, dip buyers are backing off, and this is your classic risk off look. And the backdrop for all this is pretty straightforward. It's just that the market is still trying to price in the Israel US versus Iran war and all the fallout that can come with it. We've had headlines about strikes on Iranian assets, Iran firing back, and the constant chatter about what that means for energy and shipping. And that's why you're seeing money rotate into energy and defense while the broad indices fade. So let's dive into oil real quick, and because that's really where the market is expressing this fear. Now, USO keeps pushing, taking out fresh highs and trading up through the mid 90s today, almost at $100 now. Well, crude itself has been flirting with that $80 handle as traders bake in more and more supply risk out of the region. So the big boogeyman, I would say, in the background is still the Strait of Hormuz. If that ever actually gets shut or even seriously restricted, that's a huge shock to global oil flows, and then the market knows it. At the same time, I've been getting some headlines here and there that as of within the past hour that are basically suggesting that Iranian officials are saying that they have no intention of closing the Strait of Hormuz right now, and that they don't want to escalate it that far. But I'm taking that with a grain of salt. Statements change quickly when missiles are flying, and the market is going to react to every new headline. So that's why you're sort of seeing these sharp spikes in oil, and on one set of comments, and then partial fade offs when a more diplomatic tone kind of hits the tape. So for me, the takeaway right now is this. So as long as this war and Hormuz risk stay front and center, I do expect dips in oil and USO to get bought first. When we finally start to see real de-escalation and consistent confirmation that the shipping lanes are safe, that's when I'll be looking for a bigger unwind in this whole oil move. So let's just quickly talk about what we did in pre-market real quick, starting with PDYN. Now, this was one of the main focuses today. I had early pre-market. I called this early around, I think it was $9.30, and it did exactly what we wanted. A momentum name like PDYN to do. It's a quick push up into roughly 1096, I would say. Yeah, right here, 1096, 1099, and it was pretty quick. Um, it's into the regular session that spike did fade off. It's pulled back right into that original entry zone before the open. uh, pardon me. Right after the open here, and I've still got half the position on, looking for a bigger extension. Still, it's consolidating well right now. So um, you know. It, I think it's a good overnighter for me into tomorrow. Now we have that daily chart on the right here, and this is the bigger channel that I was referring to. Now, if you zoom out a little bit, you can see why I'm giving it room. It's working inside a wider channel, and excuse me, wider channel. And as long as price respects that structure, I am interested in a move towards 13 plus. My plan here is pretty much very simple. It's above roughly nine, it needs to hold. That price definitely. I'm scaling out into strength as we do approach prior resistance zones, though. And if it does break down or loses structure or a volume disappears entirely, I'm not gonna get emotional about it. I'll just close the rest and move on to the next A plus setup. Next up, I quickly want to cover MTEK MTech. This was a big winner, big patience play for us. Uh, this is a name I've been on for about a month, tied into the Israeli aerospace angle and space imaging theme. So it did take. Sorry about that. It did take its time There were days, when it didn't look like much, but today it finally did what we wanted. We got that squeeze up roughly about 86% on the day. And, with pre market highs around three, it did fade off into the open, but, it's consolidated well right now. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we did get some continuation tomorrow above three. And I'm sort of sticking to the defense theme at the moment. As you can see, stocks are still going off on the side here. I'm trying to stay focused on making these videos, and you know, TURB was one of those ones where I was actually looking to take it, but I just couldn't alert it in time. I just started working on this video, and this is basically the downtrend I was watching. Anyway, um, just looking at PRZO real quick. It's just another Israeli defense angle name. Focused on drones, is aerial defense. And on the daily, you can see it's pressing right up against this downward TL. And this is a very interesting zone right here. It's a make or break, I would say, in the next 1 to 3 days. And that 137 to 140 zone is definitely a key breakout area. The way I'm thinking about it is pretty straightforward. If we do get a strong push through that zone with real volume behind it, I do like this for an overnight, 1 to 3 days. It does need to poke its head above, and I'll just treat that as a good expansion when it comes. Ruby, real quick, I'll cover that real quick as well. Marine shipping, it did do well a couple days ago. It's doing well right now, heading right into that resistance zone that I marked earlier. Um, it's like I said, it's a marine shipping name, recent runner, watching, pull back into the local highs. So the local highs, I would say, let's pull back to the 15-minute chart real quick. And these local highs that we have right here, 127, 140, and above 170. So I'm keeping this as a starter for now. If we do get that squeeze back into the old area on Ruby, I'm happy to take profits and be done with it. And if it doesn't play out, that's fine. These aren't meant to be a multi-day runner plays. When it moves, you have to be there to secure the gains. If it does break below 85, though, I'm fine counting it for now. It looks pretty solid, I would say, at the moment. To wrap it up, and give you the main takeaways. The indices are trending down as the market continues to price in that Iran war and higher oil. And at the same time, USO and crude remain strong on those supply fears, even with Iran publicly saying that they don't plan to close Hormuz for now. Small caps are still very selectively rotating into that backdrop. So you can't just throw darts. You need to be in the tickers with a real catalyst and real levels marked out before you take the trade. So when you do get that expansion move in oil names or marine shippers or defense stocks, and you name it, you already know what to do. From here, um, for a couple hours, I'll be watching PRZO for that 137, 140 breakout if volume does pour in, and also keeping Ruby as a starter into close. And I'll see into maybe scaling into some more Ruby into close and into the end of day. And I'll see what else the market wants to give us this afternoon. I'll post any updates and exact levels in the Discord as always. And if there's a major change, I'll just make a quick update video or and get it out. For now, I'm calling it there. Trade the levels. Always manage your risk, and I'll see you in the next one.